I like puppies.
I like dogs.
I have a dog named Andy.
I have a dog named Sophie.
And I used to have another dog named Kimbo, and he was a giant schnauzer. But he didn't get along with Andy. And then we had another dog before that named Toddle, and he was a schnauzer cocker.
My dog's a border collie Australian shepherd schnauzer.
We don't know what Andy is.
Yeah, he's like some Pomeranian.
No, he's not. He's too big.
Well,
He's on the floor right now.
Pom
Pick him
mix.
up and show him.
Come here, Ant. Come here, boy.
Oh. This is my dog. He's so cute. Yes.
Yeah, they got him from the shelter, and I guess the people that like brought him in, they said he was a purebred Pomeranian, but he's like
way too big.
he's as big as my dog. And Pomeranians are like, you know, like that big, and he's like wider than the screen.
He's like,
yeah.
say hi, Andy.
I mean, his head's basically as big as a Pomeranian.
Yeah, a Chihuahua at least.
But there's one breed.
Andy.
There's one breed that we both love.
Australian Shepherds.
Australian Shepherds, and why?
They're cute. And
They're
pretty.
beautiful. And they're amazing in every way.
And their coat's pretty.
Yes.
And I also want a corgi, a Welsh corgi. Because they're so cute.
Yeah, not a cardigan. I mean, Welsh corgi all the way.
And I also want a King Charles Spaniel. And
why? Because they're amazing and adorable.
I heard that they were nice.
Yeah, and they're amazing
and
to train.
I also want what was it called?
What was it? I don't remember. Neither do I.
What else? What was it?
Oh, greyhound.
Oh yeah, Italian greyhound.
Yeah.
The little ones, not the big mean ones that race.
So she wants more like a whippet.
Like the cuties.
Yeah.
And I want a husky. I want lots of huskies so I can race in the Iditarod.
That's a lot of fur.
But I want to race in the Iditarod.
Dude, that's like 300 coats.
I want to race in the Iditarod.
It'd be cool. It'd be really cool.
And cold.
Mhm. There's another thing we have in common. It's called American Girls. When I was about Allie's age, I was addicted to the series American Girls.
I have 15 dolls.
And I'm so jealous. I never got a doll. Actually, I did. But it's not like the actual American Girl doll. It's just one from Geppetto's. But she looks like Kirsten. And what American Girls is, if you don't know, it's girls throughout history. So.
And there's modern ones that you can name, and there's Girl of the Years that have names and they're about the year.
But the old ones, like there's one, you know, that's in India and like in Idaho, and then there's one for the Great Depression, and there's a black one during slavery, and
there's one from the Revolutionary War. I'm studying the Revolutionary War in
Felicity?
social studies. Yes,
Felicity. She was my favorite.
I can tell you every single one of them up to 2009.
Go ahead.
Okay, it starts with Kaya, and she is a Native American growing up in the 17th century.
In Idaho.
She's a Nez Perce, which means nose pierce in French, but they call her the Nimipool. Then there's Felicity Merriman, and she lives in Williamsburg, Virginia in 1774 during the American Revolution. She also has a friend doll named Elizabeth Cole, who is a loyalist. Felicity is a patriot, but they're still friends.
Keep going.
Then there's Josefina Montoya, and she is a Mexican girl growing up in New Mexico in the early 18th century.
She was okay.
And she lived in New Mexico when it was a part of Mexico. And then there's Kirsten Larson, the Swedish immigrant.
I was here for Halloween. It was so cool.
And she moves to Minnesota to be on her uncle's farm. And then there's Addie Walker, and she's the slave girl, and she runs away. Her and her mom ran away to Philadelphia to become free during the Civil War.
Yeah, and then like her
brother
goes...
And her birthday's on the day the war ended.
Yeah, and then like her brother Sam or something like that's in the war. And then he comes back.
He lost his arm.
Yeah, and he lost his arm. It was really traumatic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of people die in that book.
Yeah. That's
like
sad.
her uncle and her aunt. It's a sad book.
Yeah. And her little baby sister.
She's cute.
She doesn't die, but she's cute.
And
yeah.
her name's Esther.
Yeah.
I have a doll named Esther.
I like the name Esther.
And
like
then
her a
there's
lot.
Samantha Parkington, and she's growing,
I hated Samantha.
and she's growing up in the turn of the century, which is
Oh.
1904. She also has a friend doll named Nellie O'Malley, who's an Irish girl, and she was a girl who works in factories, and Samantha befriends the poor girl.
Yeah, Samantha's like a spoiled brat.
I don't think so. She was nice to Nellie.
She never learns how to be well. Like she was nice to Nellie, and then she'd like backstab her. Like Samantha was just a spoiled brat who needed to be taught a lesson. Like
I don't think so.
she's stupid.
And you know what's mean? They
She's just
retired
stupid.
her. They got rid of her, and she was like the first doll, which makes me mad because I don't have all her stuff.
I didn't like Samantha. I thought she was overrated.
And then there's Margaret Mildred Kittredge.
Oh,
Her real
I
name's
love
Kit Kittredge, and she's growing up during the Depression.
Yeah.
And she has a friend doll named Ruthie Smith, and Ruthie's kind of rich.
Yeah.
And then there's Molly McIntyre, and
but Kit. There's more to Kit.
she's growing up in the Great Depression, and her family
Yeah,
turns
her
their
dad
house.
like loses his job, and so she takes cans to the food bank, like because her mom's like, we're better off than most people, and she takes them to the food bank, and there she sees her dad picking up dinner. Like they didn't know that her dad was going to the food bank to get their food, and so it was like really sad. And I loved
And then,
Kit.
to make more money, they turn their house into a boarding house, which Kit
Yeah,
doesn't really
and then
like.
she saves money so that they can have lights on for Christmas.
And Ruthie saves Kit because her dad's bank was going to close down their house, and they needed to get to Aunt Millie. And Ruthie saved the Kittredges from losing their house.
Yeah, and I got my hair cut just to look like Kit, and it looked horrible. Oh, man,
And then there's Molly McIntyre growing up during World War II, and she learns how to be useful by doing stuff to help the soldiers.
And she was funny looking.
She has glasses. That's not funny.
And long braids.
She's not. I like her. And then she has a friend named Emily Bennett, and Emily Bennett comes to stay with them from England because she wants to get away from the bombing. So she lives with Molly.
And then in the very last book, they both get a Jack Russell Terrier, which is like the worst breed ever. No offense, but
I have their dogs.
yeah.
And then last, well, this is not the last. They have Julie Albright, who's a girl from the 70s. And her parents get divorced, and she moves away across town. And then she has a friend doll named Ivy Ling, who's Chinese.
Yeah.
And then there's the Girl of the Year dolls, but I don't want to tell you all about that.
No, they're not as important. They're not history.
Except for the two that I have.
Yeah.
I have Nikki, and she's a girl growing up on a ranch in Colorado, and she has horses, and I love horses, and she trains a dog. And then I have Jess, who goes to Belize and makes important discoveries from the ancient Maya civilization.
Yeah.
The Mayans.
Never got that far. Got too into dog books. But yeah, this is what we're doing instead of, well, I'm just a bad babysitter. I'm not like, go to bed. So this is what we're doing instead of going to bed. So yeah.
We're surfing the web.
We're surfing the web. What else do we have in common?
I like funny movies.
Yeah, I like funny movies too.
I especially like Mr. Bean and the older Pink Panthers.
Yeah.
Enough with the Steve Martin. The Steve Martin is not an original Pink Panther. The old ones with Peter Sellers are original, and they're funny.
That's like the one.
Hey, Ben! Special delivery, hey, Ben!
Could I get a home? A home? No, and then there's like the part where the guy's like, he needs his tooth pulled, and so he pulls the tooth, and he's like, that was the wrong tooth, and I'm like, ow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's funny. And then Kato, his assistant, Kuso told Kato to attack him wherever and whenever so he can be prepared. And so Kato starts cutting the floor out, and he's standing on it, and it makes that saw noise, and he's like, and then he's like, ah! And he falls through the floor, and he lands in some paint, and then an old lady comes in and faints.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
What else do